Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I actually wanted to review Men Explain Things to Me. If you guys have seen my previous videos as well as I think it was my favorites video, I actually talked a little bit about this book in my winter favorites. So I had a couple people ask me to review this book, specifically instead of just kind of give a little blurb in my favorites video, so that's what I'm doing today. So this is Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. And so one of my friends actually recommended this book to me and was just telling me about it, and it just sounded like a really, really great read. For me, naturally, I'm not one of those people that's just like going out like looking for feminist books, looking for kick-butt books, like that sort of thing. I read a lot of like personal development books, self-help, that in that kind of realm. Every once in a while I'll read, a novel, but most of the time it's like very, very old literature. So this is just not naturally something that I would have immediately been looking for, and so it was just really great that she actually recommended this book to me because it's not something that I normally would look for. And the cool thing that I like about this book is it's not your typical kind of feminist book when I would see some of my friends talk about, oh, this feminist writer or this feminist writer. The thing that I like about this book is it's kind of like in the perspective of kind of like a journalist. So it's very kind of factual, it's very kind of to the point. It's actually a book of her essays, so I just thought that was really, really cool to begin with. Each chapter and each essay is, completely different in the way that it's kind of approached. So the first story right off the bat in the book is actually why the book is titled Men Explain Things to Me. And she talks about kind of like how her and her friend are at this event, and she really wasn't excited about being there, but she was like, whatever, we're gonna be here. And she begins speaking to this man. They're talking about books and what she's written, and he's kind of like questioning her and kind of trying to pick her brain to see where she's at. And she begins explaining how she wrote this book about industrialization and time and space and all this kind of stuff. And the guy just kind of jumps in and cuts her off and starts talking about this amazing book by this amazing author and how it was very interesting and all this kind of stuff. And her friend are kind of saying like, she wrote the book, like, hello, she wrote the book, it's by her, that's the book that I was just talking about. And he just keeps kind of cutting her off and talking about it and the concepts in it and how brilliant this book is, and not realizing that her and her friend have told him that she wrote the actual book. So it's just kind of like this funny story, but there's so much truth behind it, because as women, that happens to us all the time. I mean, you go to work and you come up with this brilliant idea and a man will immediately like cut you off and you start questioning you, or stating it as maybe their idea, or whatever the case may be. And this is something I know that I've personally dealt with a lot. You just go in and it's like women automatically, if we have a brilliant idea within our little minds, it's automatically seen as something that needs to be kind of like debated, or something that needs to be questioned. It can't ever just be, oh, well, you're very knowledgeable about this certain topic, and that's that. It has to be kind of like this tug of war. So she talks about that in the first essay, and it's just this really, really funny story. So I just thought that was really interesting. One of the essays that was a little bit harder to read was just her talking about all the different statistics out there in the world of just the amount of women that have been abused or raped or taken advantage of in some way, shape, or form, and just how prevalent that is in our society today. I mean, it's so crazy to think about. And she was just putting up those statistics against kind of like how many of those cases are actually taken, how many of the rape kits are processed, how many of those women actually come forth and say, that this, XYZ happened to me. And it's like all of a sudden the percentage just absolutely shrinks down into like nothingness pretty much. I mean, for me, I am a survivor of different forms of abuse and being taken advantage of. And I know there's plenty of other women out there, maybe even watching this right now, who have gone through similar situations and either didn't speak about it, or told certain family members, or maybe you didn't even pursue the case just because so many people doubted you, or so many people said you're lying, or you're making it up, or maybe it was your imagination. And they always make it seem like it's this aloof thing that happened in your mind and it didn't really actually happen. So she talks about that in the book and says, no, this is why this should be taken seriously, because this is the percentage of women who this happens to, as well as she even goes into the dynamic of, even men as their makeup in, their hormones, their testosterone levels, their muscular structure and everything like that, how that pushes them to be more prone towards, attacking another human than it would be for a woman you know, to do something like that. And because of that dynamic, because men are naturally more aggressive and, you know, stronger and, you know, larger and prone to do things of that nature, not saying that all men are like that, but she's just saying like that's the natural makeup. And then, you know, women being, you know, sometimes the more vulnerable sex, as well as all the different other situations that we have to deal with, that's the reason why, you know, kind of head to head, that situation keeps occurring over and over again and it not really be taken seriously. So that was a very, very interesting essay to read. And then one of my favorite essays, oh my gosh, is actually this one that she wrote. I can't remember the name off the top, but she talks about of how as women we're kind of like the Cassandra. And Cassandra is this person in Greek mythology who had this curse put on her where she would always know what was going to happen. She would always, you know, have this insight, but nobody would ever believe her. That was like the curse. You're always going to know what's going to happen or have some insight, but nobody's ever going to take you seriously or believe you. And then she talks about that story and then kind of compares it to like the boy who cried wolf. You know, it was like the second he said something, people automatically believed him, even though he was lying multiple times in a row, and it took him multiple times of crying wolf before people stopped believing him. And she said that this is how we are today in society, how women, we could have all the facts, we could have this and that, we could know exactly what happened, but we're always disproven time and time again. Whereas men, it's like the second they open their mouth and say something, it's automatically proven, you know, as a fact, unless, you know, disproved by somebody else. So she talks about kind of this dynamic in this tug of war between these two stories, and that, I mean, that was probably my favorite essay in the entire book. So I definitely would recommend. I love this. I think that she keeps her emotions very much out of the situation and is just like, you know, here's the facts. So I definitely appreciate that. She's just very, very intelligent, and you can tell just from reading the book that she's very, very well spoken. You know, she's very knowledgeable in a lot of different genres of literature, as well as, you know, just even being a journalist and an author in her right and knowing all those different backgrounds as well. So I definitely really love the book. I would recommend it. I'm gonna link it below so you guys can check it out. Oh, and one of the other really cool things about the book is she talks about mansplaining. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this term, but it means like, you know, when a man kind of over explains things to you and tries to like make you seem like you're dumb or you don't really know what's going on. So she talks a little bit about this in the book and how that phrase was coined off of her writings. She didn't actually use the word or depict the word in her writings, but it was kind of like on this, I think it was a blog that she had where women started kind of coining these phrases because of, you know, the writings that she had. And then the word just kind of like caught fire and just like exploded because, you know, she wrote this, you know, more feminist toned blog post, and this guy kind of like jumped in and was trying to disprove her and was calling her names and just being really, really rude and obnoxious, and all these women just kind of jumped in to kind of like defend the essay and everything like that. And so it was kind of like mansplaining, like that was like the big coin term, I think maybe 5 or 6 or however many, you know, years ago when she had this blog. So it was just interesting to see that kind of dynamic going on and just what, like, where we get these terms from. She kind of explains it. So that's cool as well. But if you guys would like to see more book reviews from me, comment below. Let me know which books you want to see. I'll be putting a couple more in my seasonal favorites. Seasonal favorites. So yeah, just let me know. Like this video if you want to see more. I'll be posting more as usual, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.